What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. In this one, it's my team selection for Game Week 21. So I'm going to run you through how the team is looking and give my thoughts on where to spend my 2 free transfers. I've possibly got an injury to deal with as well. And I'll quickly show you how I did in Game Week 20. So let's get into it. So let's start with Game Week 20. And for the first time in a long time, I have finished a game week inside the top 10k. I've had a few top 10k finishes over the years, not for a little while. And I haven't been this high up in the ranks at this stage of the season for quite a long time. So I am absolutely delighted. I am recording this straight after Man City and Chelsea. So the actual rank is not official on FPL, but I checked my rank on Fantasy Football Hub's My Team tool, and it's currently 8,353. So that will change a little bit. There might be some bonus and DEFCON updates to be done after the final game. But either way, I'm going to finish inside top 10k. Hopefully, we can kick on and have a really good season. But as I've said many times on many videos and streams, it can all change pretty quickly. So I'm not getting my hopes up just yet, but I am very happy. 58 points total, 17 of them from Igor Thiago. All I wanted today was Thiago to wipe out the Everton clean sheet, and he did more than that. Hat-trick, especially when so many people sold him to Ekitike recently. And it wasn't really a fair fight this week because Ekitike was injured, which obviously really sucks if you owned him. So I got very lucky there. But for Thiago to score 17 points, so good. Absolutely so good. Nailed on penalty taker, playing 90 minutes every single week. It'll be interesting to see whether he starts next game week, because there were some slight doubts about this game, but obviously huge score. Gabriel has got to be one of my transfers of the season. To do that early when he was 6.2 million, 6 days later he's now 6.6 million, and he scored again. Little bit annoying that he gave away the first goal, which wiped out the Raya clean sheet, but obviously Arsenal ended up conceding again anyway, so it didn't really matter. But Gabriel, goal and DEFCON's 9-pointer, great transfer. Cunha 9 points, as long as he keeps his 2 bonus, which it looks like he will. Lewis Hall, look, I've scored 58 points. I'm doing well. I can't complain, but I'm going to slightly complain anyway. I kind of knew as soon as I bought Lewis Hall in that I would regret it and should have gone for Chow instead. Not because I think Chow's attacking threat is much higher. I just know he's the better long-term pick. I think Lewis Hall eventually will just miss a game because of fitness, or he'll get injured before Chow, etc. But not only that, obviously Chow's now gone and got a 17-pointer. So that's an 11-point swing after just 2 game weeks, which is absolutely brutal. But obviously, I've had plenty of positive swings, so I'm not going to complain about it. But obviously, I do wish I was sat here with Chow instead of Lewis Hall. But Lewis Hall did go off just after the 60th minute, so the clean sheet was absolutely locked in. At that point, I was hoping that Newcastle would concede. They didn't. It is what it is. Elsewhere, basically nothing. Like, Saka came on and got an assist, didn't start the game, a bit frustrating, but I think moving forward, it's okay. I'll talk about him in a minute. Raya 1-pointer, Van Dijk 1-pointer. Look, I watched most of that game. There was lots of games on at the same time on Sunday, so I was flicking through a little bit. Basically, Liverpool conceded from 2 really good goals. It's not like they spent the whole game with their goal being peppered with shots. Really good goal from Wilson, which actually Van Dijk played him on side for, and then an absolute worldie from Reed at the end. I think Liverpool, unless it's checked, I'll double check now. I think they conceded like 0.75 expected goals, which is like absolutely fine. Yeah, 0.75. The game before that, 0.68. They just cannot get a run of clean sheets going. Like, Van Dijk, pound for pound, has probably been the worst pick I've made all season. Had him since wildcard 4. A 1-pointer. It is what it is. Like, Gakpo scored at the end, and Van Dijk's got the same coloured boots, and because they were chasing the game, Van Dijk was up front, and basically Van Dijk and Gakpo were both going towards the ball, and Van Dijk stopped. Had he continued, he would have been ahead of Gakpo, and he would have got his foot on it, and that would have been an amazing outcome. It is what it is. Foden has been awful. I bought him in, he got a return the first game I bought him. Since then, he's blanked every time. Bit annoying. Haaland blank again. Szoboszlai, terrible pick. Well, not terrible, but it's just not gone very well in the first couple of games I've owned. Just doesn't really look like doing too much. But I think for his price, the fact his minutes are good and he's on penalties, he's still okay. But not been great to own him so far. And then Paquetá missed out, which meant I got Anderson off the bench. I pretty much knew Paquetá was likely to miss out. There was no, what we knew kind of before the deadline, because that tweet went out saying that he was a doubt. It is what it is. I don't think it was worth making a transfer. I probably wouldn't have gone Tielemans. I might have gone for like, I actually don't know who I would have gone for, to be honest. I was probably always wanting to roll in game week 20. So Anderson off the bench, 442, 58 points, top 10k, just in and around the 8,000 mark. It's going well. And I've got 2 free transfers for next week and possibly some issues that need dealing with. So let's talk about it. So in terms of my defense, I think the one question that most people will have for me is, what am I going to do with Virgil van Dijk? And the answer is, I'm probably going to keep him for another 2 game weeks, which I know sounds crazy because he has been awful. You do not need to tell me that, by the way. I've had him since game week 4. I am aware of how few points he's had over that time. But I can bench him this week against Arsenal away. And then next week it's Burnley at home in game week 22. And that's a pretty good fixture for anyone. So I'm more than happy to have him for that game. And I think my defence looks kind of okay this week. That's not completely locked in. There is still a chance that I will sell Van Dijk, especially if I feel like I really need the money. But as it stands, I think it's okay to roll, have an extra transfer, and then game week 22, just play him against Burnley at home. He's absolutely fine for that game week. The defenders I've got this week, Lewis Hall Leeds at home. He's fit, should start, don't see an issue there. Obviously, Newcastle played today. They don't play again until Wednesday. So fingers crossed with the early sub for Hall, he should be okay. Livramento is back now, by the way. And he did come on and play left back. Lewis Miley played right back the whole game. So that is a bit of a concern because Trippier's also back. So we could see Trippier right back and Livramento left back at times. But we know Newcastle are better with Lewis Hall playing that left back role. So I'm pretty sure he will start against Leeds. Then I've got the double up Raya and Gabriel against Liverpool at home. Not a great fixture, despite how poor Liverpool have been in attack. You wouldn't necessarily expect a clean sheet there. But if any team's going to keep a clean sheet against Liverpool at home, it's Arsenal. And I know some people are thinking about wildcarding right now. But if I wildcarded, I would probably have double Arsenal defence. I'd at least have Gabriel at a minimum. Probably Gabriel and Timber. Maybe it would be Saka, Rice and Gabriel. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about wildcard too much in this video. But Gabriel would definitely be there. So I'm not going to worry about playing him this week. Like, you never bench that guy. And you very rarely make goalkeeper transfers. And Dubravka's the other option on the bench. And I don't really want to play him. So I'm kind of okay with Raya and Gabriel. And then instead of Van Dijk against Arsenal away, I'm going to play Senesi against Spurs at home. Not completely happy about that. Because Bournemouth defence has been absolutely awful. But playing Spurs at home is not that bad. Like, Spurs' attack has not been scoring a huge amount of goals. So I think that's okay to bench Van Dijk and play Senesi. I think in terms of defenders that look good this week, Nuri, O'Reilly or Nunes against Brighton at home are okay. I think if you've got Tarkowski or Keane against Wolves at home, that's also pretty nice. So the Van Dijk to Tarkowski option is definitely there. And then after Wolves at home, I could potentially play or bench Tarkowski against Villa away, then play him against Leeds at home. But it is 3 away games in the next 4, Villa, Brighton and Fulham. And I don't know, I think Tarkowski's a nice long-term hold if you've got him. I just don't know if selling Van Dijk to Tarkowski is like an urgent move that I have to do this week. Because yes, Tarkowski will probably get a clean sheet against Wolves at home, but I would expect Van Dijk to get one against Burnley at home in 22, whereas I wouldn't expect Tarkowski to get one against Villa away. So I think for Everton and Liverpool, there's probably 1 clean sheet in the next 2. I know the defensive contributions have dried up for Van Dijk a little bit. I just don't know if that transfer is worth it. I think my main worry at the moment, not really a worry, but what I'm thinking about, is game week 22, 24 onwards, you've got that fixture swing for Chelsea. Man United's fixtures get worse after the Burnley game, so I've got to think about how I deal with Cunha. Do I want Enzo? Do I want Palmer? Do I want a Chelsea defender? There's lots of stuff to think about. I'm not sure Van Dijk to Tarkowski is top of the list when Van Dijk's got such a good fixture next week. So my defence is far from perfect, but I think it's also okay. Senesi's fine, Hall's fine, double Arsenal defence is okay. So I've got 2 free transfers, 0.1 million in the bank, and I'm probably, not 100% certain, but probably going to keep Van Dijk for 2 more weeks, and then we'll see. And honestly, he might remain in the team for a while because he's always going to play. There is some goal threat there, even though we haven't seen it this season. We have seen it in the Champions League, by the way, just not in the Premier League. I don't know. I'm willing to keep him 2 more weeks, then reassess. Rest of the defence, I think it looks kind of okay. So let's start with the straightforward picks in midfield. Cunha going absolutely nowhere with Burnley away next. One of the best fixtures he's going to have all season. And he has to play. Like, towards the end of the Leeds game, Cunha did look knackered. There was a few times that Man United were on the attack and he just didn't really join in. I think his legs are kind of just gone at that point. But Man United are so short on players right now, he has to just recover and go again. So there's no need to take him out before that match. After the Burnley away game, it is City at home, Arsenal away. So a bit tougher. I will probably move Cunha on in game week 22, but right now I'm not sure who for. Could be a Newcastle midfielder, Bruno Guimaraes, Gordon. Maybe I even look at Rodgers. Who knows? Maybe I move him down to Enzo Fernandez if I don't buy him this week. Maybe I try and get the money to move him up to Cole Palmer. I don't know what I'm going to do with Cunha right now, but I know there's no point worrying about it before Burnley away. And also, Amrim said after today's game that Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes might get some minutes in that Burnley game, probably off the bench, but it just helps Man United overall. So Cunha stays. Foden, I know I already saw just before I started recording this video, someone said to me on Twitter, his purple patch is over, he's got to go. I'm not that concerned. It's obviously not great to have a player that's blanking when he costs like nearly 9 million now, and it is 4 game weeks in a row without an attack and return, but he's played 90 minutes in every game. How often have we said if that Man City player was nailed, we would own them? We've got a nailed Man City player here who's got plenty of pedigree in the Premier League of scoring goals and assists. I just don't really have any concerns. And also it helps that the next 3 fixtures are Brighton at home, Man United away, Wolves at home. And he's also like a placeholder for Bruno. Like Man United's fixtures, okay, after Burnley, it's City at home, Arsenal away. But from 24 onwards, it's Fulham at home, Spurs at home, West Ham away, Everton away, Palace at home, Newcastle away, Villa at home. It's not the perfect fixture run, but as long as Bruno comes back and starts playing 90 minutes every single game again, I'm probably going to want him back. And so if Foden becomes an issue, Foden to Bruno is right there. So I just got no concerns or no thoughts about selling him. Like, he's a nice placeholder for Bruno, but he's also just a good pick. So he stays, Cunha stays. Szoboszlai is also going to stay because I just think I've got other problems that I need to deal with. And okay, it's not great that he's playing Arsenal away, especially when I got double Arsenal defence. But my options on the bench are Virgil van Dijk against Arsenal away or Anderson against Chelsea at home. So I might as well just play the penalty taker. And like Van Dijk, he's got Burnley at home in 22. So there's no need really for me to rush out and sell him. So Szoboszlai will also stay. With Saka, it's obviously frustrating that he costs more than 10 million. He's lost penalties potentially to Gyökeres, although I do think they'll probably share them a bit. And he can still get benched. Like, the minutes are not 100% secure. And when he got benched on Saturday, I did have a lot of frustration. But since then, I've come around to the conclusion he's just a good pick still. He's not consistently going to get benched, but it does seem likely that Arteta just doesn't want to play him like 3 times in a week. Like, he will just protect him with Madueke. The good news is, and I think I've talked about Arsenal fixtures before, they have lots of non-Premier League games where he can be rested. So he's definitely going to start against Liverpool. Then it's FA Cup against Portsmouth. He'll get benched for Madueke. Then hopefully he'll play Carabao Cup against Chelsea, because I think he will start that game. And then the Forest game in game week 22. Then they've got Champions League away game to Inter. Presumably he's not needed for that. Like, Arsenal basically have top 8 already wrapped up. Then he'll play the Man United game. Then he gets benched for the final Champions League game. Then he plays Leeds. And then, okay, Sunderland maybe is a bit of an issue. But if Arsenal have got a lead in that first Carabao Cup semi-final first leg, maybe he even gets a rest in the second one to play Sunderland. So I think for the next 1, 2, 3, 4 Premier League games, Saka should start them all. Obviously, I cannot be 100% certain about that, because we look at fixture lists and say, well, this is what's going to happen. Arteta has other ideas. You know, maybe he starts him against Chelsea in the first leg, then benches him for Forest if he thinks Madueke can do a job. Like, that could happen. But I don't see a need to move Saka on right now. And I know the more Declan Rice gets points, like the 17-pointer at the weekend, the more Saka looks like a bad pick. But Saka in his own right is doing fine. Like, he's returned most weeks since I bought him in Game Week 11. And honestly, I have to keep reiterating this because people think it's not the case. I think Rice is a good pick. I promise you I do. Just at no point have I been able to justify using 2 transfers to switch him around with one of my Arsenal players. And I still think that's the case. I don't think that Saka to Rice is like a big priority for me. And honestly, going forward for the next 4 or 5 weeks, if Saka does play, there is every chance that he outscores Rice. And I've already got him in my team, so I don't want to sell him. So Saka, you can say he's not great value for 10 million, but before this week, he was on like over 6 points per game since I bought him in. He's got another 4 points off the bench, and now he shouldn't get taken out of that 11 for the next 3 to 4 game weeks, in my opinion. So I think he's still a relatively good pick, but I also acknowledge that if you were a wild card in this week, you'd probably go without him. But I do also like that he's just a placeholder for Palmer as well. Like, there are ways to get from Cunha to Palmer by tanking like a forward spot or something like that. But if I don't want to do that, Saka to Palmer's right there. And that is a move that I just like. So I've got no intentions to use one of my transfers on Saka this week. If anything, the benching now means his minutes are much better for the next game week. And we've just seen some chaos in Game Week 20. There could be more chaos in Game Week 21 because it's a quick turnaround. That leaves Paquetá. He's not yellow flagged on the FPL page, by the way, at time of recording, which is a bit weird because he wasn't in the squad at all. Nuno didn't tell us whether he'd be back. The problem with Paquetá is he wasn't in the squad on Saturday, and they are the next game on... There's only one game on Tuesday. It's West Ham Forest, so it's quite a quick turnaround to go from not being in the squad to starting the game. The good news is we will have a press conference from Nuno on Monday, as long as he doesn't get sacked or anything like that. And the problem if he does get sacked is someone else will come in, and there probably won't be any injury updates. It'll all be about the sacking. So hopefully that doesn't happen from an FPL point of view. If Paquetá is fine, and Nuno kind of is quite positive, and I think he'll start, I'm just going to roll. Because Paquetá's still fine for 6 million or less. And I just wouldn't see a need to move him on. And my plan when I used 3 free transfers to get Gabriel and Lewis Hall a couple of game weeks ago was to roll in Game Week 21 to get to Game Week 22 for the fixture swings with 3 free transfers. If Paquetá is out, it causes me a bit of a headache. So one option would be just to play Anderson and just play 4-4-2 again. But annoyingly, like last week, Anderson's got a difficult fixture against Chelsea at home. But it's the kind of fixture where he's almost guaranteed to get defensive contributions. So as long as Fulham don't get smashed, that could be like a 3 or 4 pointer. That might be enough. Like right now, if you told me Paquetá is going to miss Game Week 21 and I can get 3 or 4 points from Anderson and save a transfer, I'd maybe take that. So it is tempting just to roll no matter what happens. The other option is to use just one transfer and just sell Paquetá to someone 6 million or less because I've only got 0.1 in the bank. The problem with that is none of the picks inspire me whatsoever. I just don't particularly like any of them. Now, we saw Harry Wilson score another goal today against Liverpool, finished on a 6-pointer. He has been really good. And I do think, apart from having to play Chelsea at home this week, the fixtures are quite good for Fulham from now, I don't know, right up until Game Week 31, outside of City away in 26. So it doesn't feel great to bring him in before Chelsea at home, but it is an option. My only concern with him is whether his minutes dip once all the players are back from AFCON. That's what I'm not sure about. He doesn't strike me as a player that's just going to start every single game. So I can't quite get on board with that. Garner for 5.1 million. Obviously got that 16-pointer last week that everyone was chatting about. That's not going to be what he does most of the time, but he's only 5.1 million. Tavernier, 5.6. Pretty much nailed on for Bournemouth, playing 90 minutes week in, week out. And the fixtures are quite good now. So Spurs at home, Brighton away, Liverpool at home, Wolves away, Villa at home, Everton away, West Ham away, Sunderland at home, Brentford at home, Burnley away. And he's only 5.6 million. So it'd also free up a little bit of money as well. He's probably one of the options I quite like the most right now. Elliot Anderson is another one. Like 4 pointers most weeks from defensive contributions. Only 5.3 million. So it would take money back out of that spot. West Ham away next. Arsenal at home in 22 is not great. Although I might be able to bench him that week. Then it's Brentford away, Palace at home, Leeds away, Wolves at home. So actually, apart from the Arsenal game, 5 of the next 6 are quite good. So if he is going to go back to getting the odd attack and return, this is probably the run it's going to happen over. So I think if the deadline was in 5 minutes and I had to make a decision, it would probably be Tavernier or Anderson. I mean, Enzo Lefebvre at 4.9 million as well, played another 90 minutes this week. The fixtures for Sunderland are quite good. He's on penalties. Like, completely just tank that spot and go as cheap as possible. That's definitely an option as well. I don't think there's anyone else, not in one transfer anyway. It's probably Anderson, Tavernier, or Enzo Lefebvre. The other thing I would potentially think about is Paquetá to Enzo Fernandez. Now, I can't afford to do that. Let me just get this here. I can't afford to do that in one move. But the reason, and this isn't like a complete knee-jerk after the goal against City, but the fixtures are just really good for Chelsea now. Fulham away is not amazing, but it's okay. Then you got Brentford at home, Palace away, West Ham at home, Wolves away, Leeds at home, Burnley at home. Like, that is such a good fixture run. He's only 6.4, and I think no matter which manager comes in, he's going to play either as an 8 or a 10. And he does get forward. He does crash the box. I just like him for 6.4. The only thing I don't particularly like is it's 2 transfers, so I'd have to find the money from somewhere, and there's not really a downgrade that I want to make. And also, it leaves me a little bit more stuck with what to do with Cunha next week. If I don't want to do Cunha to Palmer next week, then Cunha to Enzo in one move is quite nice. So my ideal outcome is that Paquetá is fine, and I can just put all my decisions off until game week 22. I think going into game week 22 with 3 free transfers after the FA Cup break is quite a strong position to be in. But I do like Enzo. I just do really like him. I'm just not convinced that João Pedro, Delap, Neto. I'm never going to get excited about Neto, Esteval, etc. I just don't think they're going to have the minutes for the most part. And I can still get Palmer even if I get Enzo. So I'm very tempted by that. I guess if I had to find a way to get the money, Van Dijk down to a 5.5 million defender. The problem with that is I can't afford Tarkowski anymore because I think he's 5.6. So I'm not really sure where I would go. I don't want to double up on the Newcastle defence probably. I can't get another Arsenal one in because they're just expensive and I've already got 3 anyway. I don't know about selling Van Dijk. I could go from Senesi down to a 4.3. So Mukiele or Alderete, that could work. They've got some nice fixtures coming up. Or I get rid of Raya, and instead of Enzo, I get Rice. And then Raya to a 4. I know everyone's going to love this move. You don't have to tell. I know that's your preferred move. Right now, 2 free transfers, Rice in, get rid of Raya, and go down to 1 Arsenal defence. And just put Verbruggen or Kelleher in. Like that, probably not. I mean, Verbruggen's got City away this week, which is a bit annoying. Kelleher's got Sunderland at home. Obviously, it's a long-term pick, so you should look at future. Now, the fixtures for Brentford are not bad. So yeah, I could do that. Raya to Kelleher and Rice in, and just leave Rice for a while. I mean, it does look quite nice. I'll be honest. It just, I don't know. It feels wrong to use a transfer to remove an Arsenal. Like having 3 Arsenal is probably a good position to be in. Do I want to use 2 free transfers to move it around? And I know Ray has done terrible recently. Here's the thing, right? If I had Gabriel and Tim, I know I'm rambling a bit here. If I had Gabriel and Timber, no one would be telling me to sell either of them. Now, I know the reason for that is Timber can go and get you attack and returns. Raya can't do that. He never gets save points. It's always 2 or 6. But the bread and butter for a defender is still the clean sheets. So if Timber's going to get those clean sheets, so is Raya. And he's also a lot cheaper. I got Raya at 5.5. I've not paid like 6 million for him. So I've had him this long. It hasn't hurt me. And it's more likely that the points go up over the next few weeks than down because Arsenal's fixtures are quite good. So I don't know. I know that's the kind of move that nearly everyone watching this would do. Just get rid of Raya, get Kelleher in, spend less money on your goalkeeper, just get Rice. I'm not ruling it out, but I don't see it being a move I would probably make. I quite like Enzo. Everyone's on Rice now. He's a good pick. Second highest scoring player in FPL, I think now. At least for like midfielders, he's doing really well. I just like the fixtures for Enzo. It's like getting ahead of the curve. And he's 6.4. Just a bit cheaper. So that's kind of my plan with Paquetá. Hold him if he's fine. Otherwise, make a 1 transfer move to Tavernier or Anderson or Lefebvre. Or maybe make a double move if there's one I can convince myself of by the Tuesday deadline. And then up front, things are fairly straightforward. Erling Haaland is my captain against Brighton at home, and that is almost 100% locked in already. I just don't see a great alternative in my team. I do have Cunha vice-captain against Burnley because of the fixture, but I think right now I'm just happy owning him. I don't know if I want to go all in with captaincy as well, especially with how Man United are playing, the players that are missing out and stuff like that. Like basically, and I've said this the last few weeks, I need a really good reason to go against Haaland, and I just do not have that. Him scoring like 1 goal, 2 goals, few bonus in a fixture like this, absolutely possible. So he will obviously stay. I'm not selling him. He's definitely my captain. And then Thiago's going nowhere either. I know people will now consider captain for Thiago after the hat-trick, given it's Sunderland at home. I've got no interest in that whatsoever. We've got to be careful about changing our opinions in an extreme way. It wasn't that long ago everyone wanted to sell Thiago. We can't now go for him being this great captain option. He's still a good pick, nailed on for 90 minutes on penalties, all that stuff we like for FPL, but I don't think he's a serious captaincy contender this week. One reason for that as well is because of the quick turnaround between games. Like that was the first time recently that we've seen him play a game in quick succession. Like most of the midweeks before, he's missed out. Hopefully, to give him plenty of rest ahead of this period. So I do think he'll start against Sunderland, but there's no way I'm confident enough to captain him. And even if he does start and plays 90 minutes, I still think Haaland is the better choice. So up front, fairly easy. I have toyed with maybe going down to a 4-5-1/5-4-1 formation. I've already got Mark Guiu. I could potentially tank that Thiago spot to like a Mane from Wolves, who's 4.5 million, played the last 3 games. Or maybe just go down to one of the 4.2, 4.3 forwards from another team. I don't know if I want to do that yet. It's another reason I'd love to roll the transfer this week, because it is a serious consideration. So for example, right, if I did, let's just pretend that Paquetá is fit for a minute. If I did Thiago, let's just put Mane in, because obviously he's flavour of the week at the moment after his 12-pointer against West Ham. I don't know if he's going to continue starting, but why he's playing like this, why not? That gives me 2.4 million. That is enough to do Cunha straight to Palmer. Now, if Palmer goes up in price, I can't afford it, but I could just get a cheaper forward. And then I just play 4 defenders each week, plus my 5 midfielders. There's something about that formation. It's just not one that we've used very regularly for any of the seasons that I've played FPL. Now, this season's a bit different because of defensive contributions. Obviously, defenders and midfielders are a little bit stronger than forwards, but I'm not sure forwards are so bad that I want to tank a spot. What if another forward down the line becomes an option? With Thiago there, it's just easier to move to them. And also, Thiago's fixtures are kind of okay-ish. Like after Sunderland, Chelsea away, not great. Maybe I could bench him that week if I've got a good enough squad. Happy to play him against Forest at home. Happy to play him against Villa away. Newcastle away, it's not the end of the world. Arsenal's not great in 26. Then it's Brighton at home, Burnley away, Bournemouth away, Wolves at home, Leeds away, Everton at home. Now, at some point, I'm going to have to wildcard. I don't know when that will be yet. There's going to be doubles and blanks to contend with. I'm not saying it's a likely outcome that I keep Thiago that whole way, but I also don't think he's a big enough issue to warrant getting rid of. There's no other forwards I like. Like Bowen's fine if I need another forward, but I don't want to actively go out of my way to get him. Ekitike obviously picked up that hamstring problem. He'll probably be back for the Arsenal game, but he's over 2 million more. I just don't want him. It's not that I don't want him. I just don't have a good way to get there. I just don't think it's worth it. What other forwards are there? Mateta, maybe? It's the same old thing. Why not just hold Thiago and spend transfers elsewhere? So Thiago will stay. I did check my... I just clicked the button for my AI transfers over on Fantasy Football. If you're struggling with what transfers to make, by the way, link in the description below. You can get signed up for this. Szoboszlai to Rice. I can't get away from bloody Rice. And then Raya to Sanchez to fund it. Oh, sorry, no. Raya to Sanchez to free up the Arsenal spot. Sanchez, by the way, did miss the game for Chelsea against City, so I probably wouldn't go there unless I was 100% confident he'd be back in. But I could go for Verbruggen or Kelleher instead. Declan Rice, he's a good pick. That's what's annoying about it. I just don't think I want to use 2 transfers to do it, especially with Szoboszlai against Burnley at home. But if you want to get some ideas for moves you can make for your team if you're struggling, make sure to check that out. Link in the description below. Yeah, so that's me. I think this is an easy roll if Paquetá is fit. If he's not, I've got a decision to make. For what it's worth, I think I'm like 70% likely to use at least one transfer if Paquetá's out rather than playing 4-4-2. But playing Anderson is a temptation. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'll leave it there. If you've enjoyed that, make sure to give it a like and hit that subscribe button. I know you've got a lot of questions and stuff, especially about Ekitike, what to do with him. I'll discuss that in transfer tips tomorrow. I'll have final thoughts on Tuesday, plus a deadline stream on Tuesday as well. So there's plenty of time to get questions, thoughts, opinions across. But I wanted to get this video recorded straight away after the final game, get it out there, talk you through my moves. No knee-jerk stream. There won't be one next game week either, but they'll be back to normal once we go back to weekend deadlines all the time. I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about my moves. Give it a like, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you tomorrow.